I'm looking at the financing agreement dated January 30th, 2018 between DGS and MRE Funding, commonly referred to as the Farm Show lease. The maturity schedule for this $201 million deal specifies that $88 million of the $201 million in principal comes due in 2043, so it's almost like a balloon payment. $88 million of the $201 million is due 24 years from now. So my first question is, are these bonds callable? Can the Commonwealth repay the bonds earlier if we can refinance the deal at a better interest rate?
Sean, do you recall?
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify. So they are not bonds, therefore they're not technically callable, but the deal could be refinanced.
How would the deal be refinanced if the bonds are not callable?
If provided that MRE is willing to work with us, we can negotiate and refinance at any time.
So the Commonwealth's in a position where MRE then holds all the cards and would have to agree to accept a lower interest rate?
No, that's not what I meant.
How would, if MRE has to approve any deal to refinance the bonds or participation notes, certificates of participation, why would they agree to take a lower interest rate? I don't see why they would.
I don't imagine that they would, Representative. Quite honestly, I don't believe we contemplated refinancing, and I don't believe we're presently contemplating refinancing.
So I'm looking at the deal here, and $88 million, the interest rate on that is 5%. Now, I imagine the Commonwealth could get a better interest rate, and certainly we could contemplate that the opportunity to get a better interest rate between now and 2043. I mean, it's pretty pro forma, I would think, with any state financing arrangement that you could call the bonds at a later date if you can refinance them at a better interest rate. I mean, school districts do it, the Commonwealth does it all the time.
Thank you. Is that better? Forgive me, Representative, would you repeat the question?
Let me move on to the next question. Financing agreement cites as the foundation for authorizing the deal language in the administration code and state law that says, quote, DGS is authorized and empowered to enter into contracts of all kinds and to execute all instruments necessary or convenient for carrying on its operations. That's in the financing deal. This is a $201 million deal. The entire budget line item for DGS annually is only $126 million. My understanding is the $201 million was deposited into the general fund. I don't see how this is DGS carrying out its operations. How does the $201 million received in this deal help DGS carry out its operations?
Representative, the contract language was negotiated, reviewed, and approved by legal counsel for the governor's office and the office of the attorney general before it was executed. It's a legally binding contract. In terms of its structure, the deal is not entirely unlike other financial obligations that the Commonwealth takes on within the context of equipment leases or capital costs that have been folded into other long-term service agreements. In terms of cost, it was a good deal. The interest
I wouldn't
rates,
suggest 5% interest on $88 million balloon payment 24 years from now is a good deal.
we'll have to disagree on that then, Representative.
So I questioned the Attorney General on his sign-off earlier, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. He said he was signing off. There was a pro forma sign-off. He was not signing off on the basis, which I just read on law. That was your sign-off. You signed off on this deal. Your signature's on it. I want to know, on what basis did you sign off on this deal, since the money clearly did not have anything to do with DGS's operations?
Representative, my understanding is that the funds were deposited into the general fund, and last time I checked, the Department of General Services was part of the larger Commonwealth and is a general fund agency.
The financing agreement states repayments are not secured by a pledge of the Commonwealth's full faith, credit, and taxing power. A direct quote from the financing agreement. Nothing in this agreement shall be construed to obligate future General Assemblies of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to make appropriations for payments due under this agreement. If the General Assembly, in fact, does not make these appropriations, will these certificates of participation default?
Yes.
Now, the governor's 2018-19 executive budget has proposed repaying these bonds, certificates of participation, directly from tax revenue by directing a transfer to the Farm Show Lease Fund. But the terms of the deal specifically mandate DGS will make the payments from funds appropriated to DGS by the General Assembly. If the General Assembly does not appropriate funds to repay those bonds, certificates of participation, will DGS allow the Commonwealth to otherwise repay the certificates in violation of the deal?
Representative, I'd have to defer to the Budget Secretary on this question.
So I'll remind you, you were the one to sign off on this deal. The parties here, through their authorized, have executed this agreement on the effective date. Would DGS allow the Commonwealth to otherwise repay the certificates in violation of the deal that says DGS has to make the payment?
Representative, of course we would. And the net of it would be that the obligation would be met, the payment would be made. So how exactly are we in violation of the agreement?
So the agreement specifically states, in consideration for the $201 million upfront payment, DGS shall pay to MRE funding semi-annual payments, and then it goes on to describe the payments. And it further says in the agreement, as we've previously discussed, that if the General Assembly does not specifically appropriate these dollars, then the transfers, it says right in the deal, the transfers won't be made.
Last time I checked, Representative, DGS doesn't have a checkbook. Last time I checked, DGS, every payment DGS makes comes through the Treasury, same as with the Office of the Budget and the rest of the Commonwealth. So if the Treasury makes the payment, is that a violation of the contract?
Apparently it is. The contract says DGS shall.
It seems to me that's probably a matter of legal opinion, and I'm certainly not qualified, not being a lawyer, to be able to engage further in this argument with you, but your position seems nonsensical to me.
I would suggest with respect, that entire portions of this deal are nonsensical. Even the tobacco settlement securitization deal, which I have serious questions about as well, even that was, the rate on that was 3.9%. The deal on most of this is 5%. The terms of this deal, let me ask you this. It says specifically in this agreement that the Commonwealth retains title to the premises. The term premises is never defined in the deal. What is the premises?
The deal was thoroughly vetted
It says in the deal that the Commonwealth retains title to the premises. What is the premises in the deal that's being referred to?
The Farm Show.
The Farm Show complex?
Yes.
The building?
Yes.
The parking lot adjacent to it?
Yes.
What about the parking lots on Elberton Avenue?
I don't know.
With all due respect, it astounds me. You signed off on a $200 million deal, and you can't tell me what the term premises means in the deal. The deal's supposed to be against a premises. You can't tell me what it is. I have no more questions, Mr. Chairman.